Um, I realized in 2012 that I was really sick, and I couldn't. We just couldn't figure out what it was. I'd come home and I would sleep all weekend,
Huh.
and then I had a migraine 24 hours a day. So I finally figured out that it was carbon monoxide poisoning, and I found out actually how to treat it, which was a miracle. It took 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So we jumped to 2015, and then I'm better. I have a great measure of health back, and I never thought that I would. And so I was fooling around on the internet, and I came across this program that's really changed my life.
So back me up, because when you started, I kind of feel like you were bedridden at that point. Like you were
I
still like
was. I
nursing.
was. I was still very bedridden. That's correct. I was bedridden from 2013 to 2015. And then right around the time that I found this, I realized that I wasn't as sensitive to chemicals and perfumes and, everything else that's out in the world. I couldn't go out of my house without becoming ill in some way from my sensitivities. And so I was literally bedridden from 2012 to 15 for 3 years. And then right at the time I found the program was when I was getting better, but I didn't believe that I was that much better. So you're right. I was still in the group and at home all the time.
Yeah, because I remember, like, I think it was like our Vegas event in 2000, like maybe it was 16 or 7. I think it was
Mhm.
17, and you weren't sure you're going to even be able to travel at that point still, because
That's
I feel
right.
like, yeah. So like
That's exactly right. Yeah.
I
2016, it was never a thought in my mind. I'm still sick. I'm just have a measure of health back. Flying was out of the question. And then it was 2017 that I was able to do it.
so the kind of the cool twist or the cool thing about this story is, like, so you got into the program in 15. I think it was like November of 15, right? Somewhere in that
That's
neighborhood.
right. It was actually, what's today? It was actually today. It was
Oh,
11/6,
it is today, isn't
2015.
it? That is
Yeah,
crazy.
that
Oh,
is
so cool.
crazy.
So this is basically 3 years ago on the day
That's right.
that you got into this. And imagine the toll of being bedridden. I know, how many children do you have?
Well, we have six.
You have six, right? Many of them are
Yeah.
gone out of the house now, right? And you have
Uh,
grandchildren as well.
yeah, I do. I have a granddaughter. That's
Oh,
right.
very cool. So the cool thing is you got started, and I don't remember when it was. You'll probably remember better than me. But as the program was growing, you would just help people in the group. We have a private Facebook group, and you would just help people and answer questions, and I'd sit back and I'm like, whose is this? She's like on it. But it was obviously because you're basically bedridden at this point, and so you had a lot of time to be, like, screen time to be on the computer, and you're just that type of person. You're a helpful person. And so, like, for this interview, it's kind of cool for me because, in full disclosure for everyone, is you help me now. Like, you're able to help me with basically running all my stuff and being my right hand woman on what we do, as well as you've built this awesome lead gen business as well with everything that you learned in the program. So you've become this kind of like super entrepreneur in a sense, because you're doing multiple things where I feel like a lot of people put so many barriers on themselves, or so many, like, I guess, a glass ceiling on what they can do. And so, like,
Right.
part of the reason I wanted to bring you on was you basically had everything stacked against you. I know when you joined financially, you were in a really, really rough spot, because we've had conversations about this,
Right.
where you were like, this is crazy. I know I want to do it. I know I can do it, but this is a big pill to swallow for where I'm at financially. Obviously, a lot of things have changed since then and where your financial trajectory is going. But just, I want to kind of speak to maybe the people, like I said, either on the outside looking in or the inside already, that might watch this interview, and just kind of talk about the mentality you've kind of taken, because I think it's really fascinating.
Well, it is kind of funny because my husband still does his work.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that we would do, he's like a handyman maintenance guy, and he does different odd jobs and stuff. And one of the things that he does is he dog sits. And so we've got a family that we've worked for about 15 years now, and it's this week every year that he does this. and I came across a blog, and I scheduled my call,
Hmm.
and I had nothing. I mean, we literally had no money.
Yeah.
And I wasn't sure what it was, but I knew that I wanted to know more about it. And I had an American Express. And I thought, yes, I'm going to be able to do this. And it didn't matter to me what Simon said the cost was. I was going to pay whatever because I knew that it was something that I could do. So I put it on the American Express. I didn't tell my husband because I knew that he would
I love it. You're
flip.
such a G. I love you.
Oh my gosh, no way was I going to tell him. And I didn't tell him for months because I knew I needed to be able to pay him back.
Totally.
And so that was kind of the story about that. So we laugh about that a lot. But so yeah, I totally limped in, and I realized that there was just so much value in our group, like the Facebook group that you mentioned. And
Yeah.
I knew that you were busy, and the answers were something that I could answer. So I thought, because I was in the group a lot, because I still was home, 90% of the time, and I just wanted to help you. I just knew that what you were doing by giving all of this knowledge to us, by doing your coaching calls and stuff every week, I just really wanted to be able to help you. So that's where it kind of came around.
Yeah. And so now we like fast forward 3 years to the day, and you not only have all the stuff that I pile on you constantly and more and more and more and more and more, but then you have built, I mean, somewhere in the neighborhood of 15 to 18 lead generation properties. And the thing that I love about this is, obviously, and you know about this better than anyone because you listen to all my live streams. We talk about how these virtual assets, these virtual pieces of real estate, yeah, takes some effort, it takes some energy, it takes some knowledge and skill. But once you have it, you can float these things out onto the web and then, generate leads for, prospective business owners and get, paid a little sliver to deliver. And
That's
so
right.
now you've kind of not only had nothing when you got started as far as from a financial standpoint, but now
Right.
you've got these assets sitting out there that are working for you while you still put in work for me, which is
That's
pretty
right.
cool. So
It's amazing.
I want to talk about briefly, like maybe let's talk about like one of your best lead gen properties that you've built. We can even talk about the niche. We don't have to talk about the city it's in because I know we want to keep things protected as whatnot, but let's kind of like maybe one of your favorite stories of a lead gen property you've built and like how it's done and how you've seen it grow based on kind of what we've trained you.
Well, I know that one of my first ones, I thought, oh, everybody's in tree service. There's got to be a lot of money in tree service. So everybody's doing it, right? So
Yeah.
I went ahead and I jumped on the bandwagon, and I put this site together, and I found a guy, and he was really excited to take the leads. He met me in Annapolis and bought me lunch, and we talked about it, whatever. And that guy flaked out on me. So I thought, good grief, what in the world? Went to Manta or Better Business Bureau,
Yeah.
and they give you that extra information about the owner, and
Yeah.
sometimes even their cell phone number.
Yep.
So I texted a dozen of those guys off of there, and I said, hey, I've got a lady that needs whatever it was that I had in my hand at the time, and would you be interested in her information so you can go bid on that job? Well, anyway, so one guy texted me back. He said, sure, go ahead and send it. So I sent it. Long story short, he pays me like clockwork, and he's just fantastic. And I closed him via text.
So that's amazing.
He got the calls for a week, maybe 10 days, maybe 2 weeks. And he said, so I texted him back, how's everything going? He said, everything's going better than ever. And, when am I going to pay you? So I was like,
As soon as possible.
yeah, exactly.
Whenever you want.
Right now.
I think one of the things,
context.
yeah, one of the things I want to point out, especially if you're an outsider looking in, I think one of my favorite things about this business model, and I talk about this all the time, is kind of the approach that we take, because you're not a natural salesperson, closer, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, that's not your thing.
I didn't even have friends. I don't even know anybody that owns a local business.
Right. So it's like, it's fascinating to me, but it just shows you how well the process of give first works, and being able to bless someone with, a referral, and that you don't need to be a great salesperson, closer, or whatever you want to call it. You can literally text a business owner, hey, I have a referral for you, actually give them a referral, help them make $1 or $2. And the business owners that get it. And they're like, would you like more of these? It's like, Yeah, I would. You don't have to be like the next Grant Cardone or whoever from a sales standpoint in order to make that work. Business people that want to grow their business and want to keep their employees busy, they get it. And they're like, yeah,
That's right.
can you send more? And I think that's really encouraging, especially like, and this is again why I wanted to interview you, is like, you're not the prototypical person that I think people would say, oh, she's going to be a business tycoon or she's going to be out there closing deals. Like, you're not. You're unassuming. You're working basically from your bedroom most days, right? For your bed.
Right. Every day.
Every day. And you're able to go out there and put deals together with small business owners that you don't know from Adam by just doing exactly what we said. And I think as long as you surround yourself with other entrepreneurs with strong beliefs, strong convictions of what they're doing, you're going to rise with the tides. And I think that's really, I believe, even more valuable than the training that we have of how to do it all. I feel like the surrounding group, people like you that started from literally nothing, didn't know how to work a computer, really didn't know any of this stuff. And now, 3 years later, you got a thriving business, you got 18 lead gen properties or whatever the number is, and you got people paying you that you would have never met in this lifetime without this. And they're super happy to pay you. It's incredible.
Right. I had a conversation, a fellow I've been sending leads to for stucco. So EFS is the stuff you see on the outside of the Panera or, Chick-fil-A or whatever. Every commercial building nowadays is covered in EFS. And so I thought, well, let me do that. So I threw up a Google My Business listing for Baltimore, and it ranked for EFS and stucco that week. And so I started getting calls, and I didn't even have a site. So I found somebody on House or Home Advisor, and I chatted him, sent him a message, sent him the lead, whatever. So he comes back to me back and forth, and he's telling me, okay, well, I'm a contractor, so I want these leads and those leads and these leads. I've never met him. He hasn't paid me yet, but he was talking to me on Sunday. He was messaging me. He was like, can we talk on the phone? I mean, I know it's Sunday, but can we talk? And I was like, yeah, of course. So he called me up, and he goes, okay, so let's go out to lunch one day this week. I want to take you out to lunch because I want to talk about this over here I'm doing and this over here I'm doing. And when can I give you some money? How much do you want? And I'm just blown away. I'm completely blown away.